Welcome to Let's Watch. Today I am going to explain an American Christmas black comedy film titled Bad Santa. Be ready for spoilers ahead. At the beginning of the film, we see Willie. He is an alcoholic man. He drinks every day, however, Willie is an expert lawcracker. Willie, alongside with his miniature assistant Marcus Skidmore, are professional thieves who pose as a department store Santa Claus and his elf every year, and then rob the same store at Christmas Eve. Each Christmas, the pair change their name and take positions in a new store in a new town. And each year, they rob the store after closing on Christmas Eve, then go their separate ways before reconnecting next festive season to do it all again. Willie has little respect for himself nor for Marcus and his wife Louise. After their most recent job, Willie vows to stop drinking and to never put on the Santa Claus suit. 11 months later, Willie continues his alcoholic ways in Miami, where he spends his drinking days committing petty thieves. When he gets the call from Marcus, Willie forgets his woes and heads off to Phoenix for the next job. Marcus and Willie supplant the existing Santa at the Seguro Square Mall with their duo act. The department store manager Bob begins to regret his decision almost immediately when Willie has trouble controlling his temper and a vulgar mouth. Nevertheless, Marcus convinces Bob to hire them. Once employed, Willie begins a downward spiral of drinking. Soon after, Bob catches Willie. He was angry with him and decides to fire both the Santa and his little elf. However, Marcus and Willie convince Bob that firing an African American little person will bring a tremendous amount of negative press to the departmental store, so they keep their jobs. Nevertheless, Bob reports his concern to the security chief, Jin. Jin begins investigating the store, Santa and his little elf. One day, Willie is barely entertaining visiting children due to being a drunk. He is visited by an overweight boy named Thurman Merman. Thurman is not very bright and believes that Willie is the real Santa. Additionally, Thurman is constantly bullied by a group of teenage skateboarders. Thurman follows Willie on one night when he goes to a nearby bar. Luckily, Willie meets Sue, a bar waitress with a Santa fetish. When Sue leaves, Willie is attracted by a random man who appears to hate Santa Claus. Thurman intervenes to help Willie and chases off the random man. Willie gives Thurman a ride home to thank him. Once at the Thurman's house, Willie discovers that Thurman lives with only his grandmother. Thurman's mother has died and his father is in prison. Willie starts looking for things to steal. Once he becomes aware that there is not a competent adult in his house, he settles down for stealing the Merman's family BMW as Thurman waves vacantly goodbye. Once Willie gets to his rundown motel room, he finds someone searching his room. He returns to Thurman's house and decides to stay with the lonely boy and his grandmother at the hideout. Marcus is angry with Willie for drawing unnecessary attention to himself. Jin continues to investigate Marcus and Willie and discovers that Willie is lying with Thurman. He researches the boy's background and interviews Thurman's father in prison, who knows nothing about Willie staying at the house. Jin confronts Willie and Marcus about their operation rather than reporting it to the police. He blackmails the two holiday crooks and tells them that they can continue with the operation as long as he gets half of the proceeds. Willie and Marcus are upset about Jin request for the stolen money and items, but they don't immediately see a way out of the security officer's grip. Willie and Marcus' relationship continues to deteriorate as Willie drinking gets even worse. Willie begins showing up to work drunk and Marcus and Jin becomes fed up with Willie's destructive behavior. Reaching the end of his rope, Willie attempts suicide by inhaling exhaust fumes from the tailpipe of the Merman car. In the Merman garage, Thurman interrupts the suicide attempts and Willie gives him a suicide note, which confesses his crimes to give to the police after he is gone. Willie notices that Thurman has a black eye and after being informed that the boy got it from some skateboard bullies, Willie stops his suicide attempt and beats up the skateboard kids. Meanwhile, Marcus and Louis refuse to give in to Jin and set a trap for him. Marcus fakes a car trouble along the side of the road, and when Jin stops to help them, Louis crashes the security officer between the two cars, killing him. Unaware of the Jin's death, Willie prepares to celebrate Christmas Eve with Sue, Thurman, and Granny at the Merman house. Willie interrupts the festive to finish the robbery job with Louis and Marcus. Despite his attempt to sabotage the job, drunk Willie along with Marcus and Louis and departmental store. However, Willie discovers that the store's industrial size safe is supposedly unbreakable and is uncertain whether he can open it. Nevertheless, Willie opens the safe and then proceeds to look for a stuffed elephant, the one item that Thurman requested for Christmas from his Santa. After finding the pink elephant, Willie is surprised to discover that Marcus and Louise intend to kill him, having become fed up with his increasing carelessness. However, the police unexpectedly showed up and surround the three criminals before Marcus can shoot Willie. The police made aware of the robbery by Willie's letter that he gave to Thurman. They begin a running shoot out with Marcus and chase after Willie. The criminal Santa escapes and gets to his stolen car. Desperate to get the stolen elephant to Thurman, Willie gets to Thurman's house, but he is shot multiple times on the doorstep of the Merman house. Unbelievably, Willie survives. He is sent to prison where he writes to Thurman and sends him presents. A letter to Thurman informs the audience that Willie received a reduced sentence due to the outcry of the general public over the Phoenix Police Department shooting an unarmed Santa Claus in the back in front of children, and the fact that the Willie wrote the letter that informed the police to the robbery. The letter also informed Thurman that Marcus and Louis ended up in the prison and that Sue ended up being made Thurman's legal guardian. Willie ends by telling Thurman that he will see him soon. Thurman proceeds to work on his bicycle in the front yard. When the skateboard bully approaches him, Thurman kicks him in the groin and flips the bully the bird before riding off. With this scene, the movie ends. That's all from it. If you like this video, do check out our channel for more similar content.